And welcome back to Invest Comics TV. I'm your host, Rick Osmond, and this is the fourth and final part in our series of interviews with Neal Adams. In the first episode, we talked about Neal's first job, how he got to Archie Comics and drawing the Archie joke book. And in it, he portrayed the clown of that series, Jughead, telling a Boy Scout how easy it was to build a fire rubbing two sticks together. Then in the second episode, we talked about Neal's involvement in social issues and the drug abuse issues of the time and some other social issues of the time, and how that led to his and Stan Lee's influencing the changing of the comics code. Then in the most recent episode, third episode, we talked about his efforts in the areas of animatics and motion comics, and how that could be the future of comics and how that could be marketed. Now here in part 4, we're going to recover some of that ground about motion comics and the marketing, because I dug up some but some further information. So we'll go with that, and then we'll also talk about his current project and some of his near-term projects. So stick around. It's going to be fun.
Matter of time, we will see motion comics of our favorite comic books.
Sure.
It's just trying to kickstart the engine and to try to cause the companies to do business. See, comic book companies are used to, I do the comic book, I put it out on Wednesday, and if by next Wednesday I don't sell out of those comic books, I'm not making money.
Right.
That's not how you sell a movie. That's not how you sell a DVD or a CD. You do it with a plan, and the plan doesn't take a week. It stretches out over time. Like Disney, if you were to say, how does Disney monetize Snow White? Well, they're still monetizing it.
Yes.
And every time they reissue it, every decade,
they're still making money on it.
If you dig with a shovel or a pick.
In a mine, where a million diamonds shine.
Exactly. Every decade that they reissue Snow White, they make more money that decade than they made the decade before, because they were able to raise the prices and all that.
Yep.
So there's no bottom line to the monetizing of something that's in this format. And if you think about it, the money they paid to have it done at the beginning is the beginning of the monetization. So there's not this business plan that makes this thing work. So they're using it for experimental purposes to try to monetize it. They're using it to promote their projects, but they're really not seriously moving forward on it.
They just haven't figured out how to.
We're
They just haven't figured out how to include it in their existing paradigm business model stuff.
It's hard. It's hard. You know, life is tough. We're ready to do it. I think that there are some plans that we have that are going to be perhaps more successful in a project that I have, but I'm not ready to talk about it because we haven't, signed all the papers and stuff. But
right.
Yeah, I feel continuity is going to be doing motion comics for a long, long time.
I think so too. Another thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but you just recently finished up a new Batman series. Is that correct?
Well, I didn't exactly finish it. I mean, the fifth issue is out now, is out this week, and it's called Batman Odyssey, and it's a very adventurous kind of. It's not a retelling of the Batman story. It's getting Batman used to the society that we are in now, with all the firepower that's out there. How does Batman deal with it? I mean, after all, he goes around without guns, and he's got his little utility belt and stuff, and somehow is supposed to fight off AK-47s. Not quite so easy.
No.
So we've approached that story and done, I think, a pretty good story that issue 5 is out, and there's going to be 13 stories in all. I'm working on the last one at this time, and I'm getting some inkers involved, like Jim, what's his name, Bill Sienkiewicz is working on issue 6 with me. Who's Jim Lee's inker? Why can't I think of his name at this moment? See, you're not a big comic book fan.
I'm not a data fan.
Right.
I'm a fan of the overall product. Right. Josh something.
But anyway, so it's really my revisiting Batman and taking him through an epic adventure that, when I say Odyssey, it really is an Odyssey. I mean, there's just no question about it. He is going through a life-changing experience. And so, and it'll be collected as a graphic novel and all the rest of it. But the issues are very exciting. There's lots of in this current issue, we have Deadman in the body of Joker kind of teasing Batman in the Batmobile. And he's saying things like, has it occurred to you, Batman, that you're constantly going out fighting clowns? I mean, you got the Mad Hatter, and you got the Riddler, and you got the Penguin, and you got Mr. Freeze, and you have me, the Joker. It doesn't occur to you that maybe somebody's messing with you? It's just a bunch of clowns. I mean, do they have lots of clowns in Metropolis? So he's kind of messing with Batman's mind, and Batman has to go, what's going on here? Maybe somebody is messing with me. I mean, what do they do with us, Batman? I mean, you arrest us, they take us in court, and they decide that we're insane. They put us in Arkham Asylum, and periodically we escape and screw with you again. Doesn't that sound like a plan? Doesn't that sound like somebody is in control of you, and every time they want you to be distracted, they just let another clown out to screw with you?
Oh, wow.
I mean, oh, wow.
Good thought, because I call them the controllers to begin with, but nevertheless.
Discount Comic Book Service, where you can save 40 to 75% off on new comics, collected editions, graphic novels, action figures, statues, and other one-of-a-kind items from DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, Boom Studios, Top Cow, Dynamite, and many, many more. Go to www.dcbservice.com for easy ordering and fast delivery. Or you can visit our brick-and-mortar location at 10202-C Coldwater Road in Fort Wayne, Indiana. DCBS, welcome home.
So, that's your current stuff, the Batman stuff, as well as the continuity and animatic stuff. What do you have future? I mean, do you have something coming out for Kindle or whatever?
Okay, well, what do we have in the future? I have a short graphic novel on using the Wolverine for Marvel. So that's my next project. I have a thing called Blood, which is an independent project that I intend to animate. We're doing more motion capture in our studio, and I'm going to be using motion capture also in the motion comics. So with Blood, we're going to have half animatic, half motion capture. And full animation whenever we feel like it's a good idea to use it. Full animation in the sense that it's like CGI animation. It's not 50 guys in Czechoslovakia drawing pictures. It's more CGI, a little bit grittier and more interesting. And so what's happened is that in the last couple of years, starting with the motion comics, and because I've done such a ton of advertising, I've sort of stepped away from comics until all the technology has finally caught up to me.
Sure. Which
is one of the reasons why I kind of stepped away from it, because the moving the technology forward is so slow and tedious and such a pain in the butt that I would rather have spent, and I did spend time doing other stuff, developing our technology, doing the advertising and all the rest of it, waiting for that moment when maybe it's time for me to come back and to kick some butt and to play around. So now, because of the motion comics, I'm kind of sucked back into comics. So now I'm doing Batman, now I'm doing Wolverine, now I'm doing Blood, and now maybe film.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a lot of
congratulations, even on a maybe.
Yeah.
And
it's
if you have a role,
exciting for.
If you have a role for an interviewer, let me know, will you?
Right, there you go.
Anyway, Neal, I appreciate it, and I hope to catch up with you again now that we have you on Uvu. It'll be a little easier. And let us know what's coming down the pike for you. We'll get back with you in a few months and see how everything's going with you again. Does that work?
Cool. That sounds good to me.
Here's a riddle for you. What do the California gold rush of the 1850s, secret societies, coded messages, mysterious 19th century flying machines, and an early 20th century outside artist named Charles A. Delshaw all have in common? The Secrets of Delshaw by Dennis Crenshaw and Pete Navarro. Go to www.secretsofdelshaw.com to learn more. So there you have it. That's our interview with Neal Adams, an icon, a hero in his own right, and a superhero to a few reformed drug abusers. He's a hero of mine for a number of reasons. First one being his dedication to his craft. He's done half a century of comic books and related artistic ability stuff. A fine man, a wonderful guest for this interview program. Now a bit of commentary. Neal started his career with the Archie comics, and one of the first things he did was, of course, Jughead. And I mentioned earlier, he portrayed the Joker of that series, telling a Boy Scout something he didn't really want to hear. Then we moved on to his current project, which is the Batman Odyssey. And in it, in the interview, he described a scene where he had the Joker telling this Boy Scout a few things he didn't want to hear. Interesting that 50 years apart, the panels are assembled basically the same, and it's still portraying a Boy Scout hearing something he didn't really want to hear. At any rate, Neal, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all I can say. Keep up the great work, and I'll look forward to the next time that we can interview you here on Invest Comics TV. This is Rick Osmond. I'm out of here.